I persistently sent anonymous flirty texts to the school bully. Asterisk, your waistline is so enticing. And your abs are beautiful. Asterisk, so pink. Asterisk, I just want to take a bite out of you. I like to see him angry. It makes my legs go weak. But when I finally hooked him, I discovered he was the heir of the Lily family. I was so scared that I immediately broke up with him, blocking and deleting him in one go. But the next moment, I bumped into a chest. He pulled me into his embrace, his voice low and harsh, playing with me. Right, Lily, your rescue shot was way too handsome. Those B-team guys had to slink away. Right, Lily, what's wrong with you? In the classroom, the basketball team members noticed their captain's strange expression and all toned down their excitement. Right, Lily furrowed his brows, taking a deep breath. You guys chat. I'm going out for a smoke. He held a cigarette and typed with one hand. Then, I received a text message on my phone. Asterisk, girls shouldn't do this. It really bothers me. Right, Lily stood in the corner, his nose sharp, thin lips pressed tightly together. His muscular build filled out his black t-shirt. He looked fierce when he wasn't smiling. As a few girls walked by outside the hallway, he coughed lightly. He immediately extinguished the cigarette, yet he was unexpectedly gentle. I withdrew my gaze, my fingertips sliding over the text box filled with a dense green color. Since last month, I had been persistently chatting with him unilaterally every day. Asterisk, baby, it rained today. Just like me, seeing you makes it rain. Asterisk, I'm not happy today. I left 2 mint candies in your drawer. Asterisk, baby, you look so fierce when you dunk. It makes my legs weak. P.S. I left some water on your resting chair. _. Asterisk. Flipping to the end, he replied to only one message. Asterisk, girls shouldn't do this. It really bothers me. I gently lowered my eyelashes. I was already so overboard. How could he still be so gentle? Right, Lily came back from outside, smelling faintly of tobacco. He maintained a serious expression and said, I have a friend. I hurriedly buried my head in my arms, secretly curling up the corners of my lips. Under the gaze of the team members, Right, Lily's expression grew colder. He gritted his teeth and said, I have a friend who has been receiving anonymous texts from girls lately. Well, not very good texts. One of the team members, a bit slow on the uptake, exclaimed, Right, Lily, are you being harassed? Ha. Even though my voice was small, the atmosphere was so quiet. Right, Lily's gaze fell on me. My heart skipped a beat. His deep-set eyes, with lighter irises, seemed to fixate on me like a predator. I quickly pushed my hair in front of my face, grabbed a couple of books, and rushed out the door. After taking a few steps, I could still hear people discussing behind me. That Maureen Burt, who switched majors, is really pretty. Her waist is so thin, and her legs are so straight. Right, Lily, why are you hitting me? Right, Lily's low, magnetic voice drifted into my ears. Don't say that about girls. Back in the dorm, Right, Lily didn't message me, but my mom called. Her voice was calm and cold. Maureen Burt, why didn't you tell us you switched majors? Come back immediately. My sister also sent a message. Asterisk, she's in a bad mood. Be careful. My heart sank to the bottom. I sat on the bed with my knees hugged, staring into space for a while. After thinking, I pulled up my skirt to reveal my straight, slender legs. I took a photo. Not quite satisfied, I pulled it up again. My hand trembled slightly, but without hesitation, I sent it to Right, Lily. Asterisk, does it look good? Right, Lily replied almost immediately. Asterisk, I deleted it. Don't do this. I paused for a moment, wondering why he wanted to delete it. Why wouldn't he show it off to his teammates? Asterisk, doesn't it look good? Asterisk, don't you like it? 2 messages sank into silence. I opened my album and pulled out a candid photo of him. He had just finished playing basketball, and was tilting his head back, drinking water. Right, Lily had sharp features, exuding a fierceness not typical for his age. I touched his Adam's apple with my fingertip. It was so prominent. Why was he so fierce? On the way home by taxi, Right, Lily sent me a QR code. Asterisk, add me on Weshit. I clicked to add him. Standing in front of the villa, I took a deep breath. As soon as I entered, my mom slapped me hard across the face. I turned my head from the force, my brain buzzing. Her voice was laced with suppressed anger. Why didn't you follow the path I planned for you? Maureen Burt, I raised you for so many years just to let you hand this family over to an illegitimate child. Sitting in the living room, my sister calmly sipped soup without even lifting her head. We had long grown accustomed to this stifling atmosphere. When I was 2, my dad died in a car crash while celebrating a birthday for his mistress, who also perished in the accident. My sister, Maria Burt, is the daughter of that mistress? She was only 2 months older than me at the time of the accident. Mom dragged me in, kicking Maria Burt into the family. Over the years, she had to raise both of us while also dealing with shareholder conflicts in the company. She had it tough. We owe her so much. But my sister is much smarter than me, and I really know nothing about stocks and bonds. Mom received a phone call and passed down her final verdict on me. Go kneel in the study. You're not allowed to eat dinner tonight. As the sky darkened bit by bit, the heavy oppression almost swallowed me whole. I didn't know how long I had been kneeling. Asterisk, creak, asterisk. Sister opened the door, helping me up. Mom won't be home tonight. You can stop kneeling. Want to eat something? I looked pale and steadied myself against the wall. It's fine. I'll just lie down for a while. Just as I closed the door, I tripped over a doll on the floor, my knees hitting the ground painfully. Turning purple, I felt both wronged and helpless, pounding the doll in frustration, tears welling up in my eyes. Mom, if I get ruined, will you still treat me this way? I opened my phone. Right, Lily's messages were pinned at the top. Only 2. Asterisk, who are you? Asterisk, if you keep this up, I'll call the police. I slowly typed out my name in the chat box. Then I deleted it, one by one. I finally couldn't hold back and cried out loud. With trembling hands, I sent him a photo of my injured leg and a few voice messages. Please don't be harsh with me. It really hurts. Right, Lily is a jerk. I don't want to like you anymore. I had clearly prepared to be a topic of conversation for him. I clearly wanted him to ruin me, but he was so gentle. I always wanted to push my luck. Right, Lily had just finished showering when his phone vibrated. He opened the photo. The legs that had been pale and slender just hours ago were now bruised and swollen, blood seeping out, looking shocking. The girl's tearful voice pleading with him not to be harsh sounded like a drenched kitten, pitiful and fragile. She was so sad. Right, Lily's heart twisted painfully at those few words. He immediately realized he was in the wrong. He was a jerk, but the message couldn't be recalled. He felt frustrated and anxious but truly had no experience dealing with girls. He could only send her messages awkwardly. Asterisk, just take care of your wound first. The response was a red exclamation mark. Right, Lily clicked on the last message. She sniffled and said, I don't want to like you anymore. All of Right, Lily's pent-up anger burst forth. After all this time, she suddenly said she didn't like him anymore. The butler's voice sounded outside the door. Sir, we've tracked down the anonymous source. Do you want to see it now? Right, Lily instinctively refused. He had already upset her. Since she didn't want to be recognized, he could coax her slowly. After impulsively deleting Right, Lily, I immediately regretted it. He was already so troubled. Now he had the perfect excuse to shake me off. I leaned glumly against the end of the bed, and my phone lit up beside me. A familiar name sent a message. Asterisk, it was my fault. HMPH. 5 minutes later, he sent another message. Asterisk, I just finished showering. Do you want to see my abs? My eyes lit up instantly. I pretended to be reserved for a moment before shyly accepting his request. A photo came through immediately. His abs were still glistening with droplets of water. His pants hung low, revealing his veins, leading down into a more secretive area. I felt my face heat up. Right, Lily always had a great figure, broad shoulders and a narrow waist, with muscles hiding terrifying explosive power. Dominating the court, I pointed my finger up at his abs. I wasn't wrong. They were really impressive. Just as I was lost in thought, Right, Lily's message popped up. Asterisk, do you like it? I nearly dropped my phone in shock. It felt like getting caught doing something bad. I calmed myself down before picking up my phone again. He sent several more photos in quick succession. Asterisk, don't like it. My face flushed completely red as I trembled and sent him a message. Asterisk, I like it. Asterisk, you're so beautiful. It took him a while to reply. Yeah. Hurry and take care of your wound. I fluttered to the kitchen like a little butterfly. Maria Bert looked at me for a while before raising an eyebrow. Are you in love? I wrapped my arms around her waist, acting coy. Oh, not at all. Maria Bert snorted lightly, serving me a bowl of porridge. Don't hate Mom. She's doing it for your own good. Recently, the business in City A has been messed up by the Lily family, who just appeared out of nowhere, and Mom hasn't slept well for a long time. I twirled my hair, guilt rising in my chest. Maria Bert took an ice pack from the fridge and pressed it on my face. She hopes you can uphold the Bert family business while I go out to make connections. This way, you'll have the greatest choice and external support. She just really hopes for your well-being. I lowered my head, sniffling. Sis, I'm so stupid. Guilt and powerlessness filled my heart. Both my parents were very smart people, but I was the only one who knew nothing about numbers. Every day I think, if only my sister had been born in Mom's womb, we wouldn't have to suffer so much. Maria Bert wiped my tears. Finish your porridge and go to bed early. The studying must continue. I even have an early class at 8, as I felt drowsy in the dormitory. Right, Lily sent me a message. Are you coming to class this morning? I was about to send a simple, back. Just as I was about to hit send, a sudden realization hit me. He's testing to see if I'm in the same major as him. If I limped into the classroom, what's the difference between that and just walking in like a lost puppy? What a scheming dog he is. I chose to ignore it. I peeked out from behind my bed curtain and looked at my roommate, who was putting on makeup. Hey, can you please not tell the teacher that I'm limping? I'll treat you to milk tea. Tracy, handsome, applying her lip gloss, didn't even look up. Just say you have a fever. That works. I really have been feeling feverish lately. After thinking for a moment, I sent 2 more messages to Right Lily. In the classroom, Right Lily casually glanced at the people coming and going. She didn't seem like herself. A teammate nudged him and teased. Right Lily, since you sat down, the number of girls in class has increased. Right Lily frowned but didn't say anything. His phone buzzed twice. A photo and a voice message from Maureen Bert. A slim, soft waist was revealed, with a little red mole on the indentation. A sticky, coquettish voice of a girl came through the headphones. Can you hold me with one hand? Right Lily slammed his phone down in frustration. Gazes from around the room turned toward him. He lowered his head awkwardly. The teammate beside him stammered. Right Lily, you're really... Right Lily gritted his teeth. Shut up. His teammate immediately changed the subject, scared by Right Lily's glare. Seems like Maureen Bert isn't here. Right Lily's mind flashed to that pretty little face. Maureen Bert, heh. I had been dozing off all day. There were several missed calls from my mom, along with a message. I've already spoken to the principal. You're going back to your original major tomorrow. The painful suffocation washed over me like a tide. Not again. Since childhood, I've been forced to compete with Maria Bert. If I don't compete, I get hit. Getting 1 point less than her means a beating. Practicing 1 minute less on the piano means a beating. Receiving 1 less compliment from the teacher means a beating. But my mom never hit Maria Bert. She only treated her coldly. She accepted Maria Bert's flowers, heart-shaped breakfasts, and handwritten letters. But those things would end up in the trash can the next moment. We were both confused. Back then, our family was in bad shape. My mom sold valuable antiques and dismissed all the servants. Yet she would socialize late every night. Maria Bert and I were so hungry we felt faint, sharing a bag of cucumbers for 10 yuan. Until one day, she suddenly came home early. That graceful, intellectual woman became hysterical when she found out I gave Maria Bert a piece of candy. You are my daughter. How can you please a bastard child? I got beaten up, and Maria Bert cried in her room. Maria Bert and I gradually grew distant on the surface. As we grew a bit older, Maria Bert had a knack for math. While I couldn't make sense of those twisted symbols, I loved to draw. But I could never forget the moment my mom discovered my drawings. Her face twisted in rage. She slapped me to the ground, shaking with anger. You're already dumb. How dare you waste time on this? I work my fingers to the bone, and in the end, it's to let you give this home to a bastard child. She grabbed my ear and forced me to burn a thick stack of my drawings. I cried until I was nearly fainting, but my mom's frown deepened. How did I end up with such a weak, useless child? As punishment, she sent the stray dog we adopted back out. Maria Bert's grades suddenly dropped. I became silent and obedient. We grew up without bothering each other. But in college, I was still forced to choose the same major as Maria Bert. The burning sensation in my stomach came in waves, and I rushed to the restroom, throwing up until everything went black. Before going home, I had to stop by the campus hospital. I grabbed 2 boxes of lorazepam and was about to leave when I heard my name from someone else's mouth. I quickly hid behind a curtain. Oscar Evan, you're amazing. Does Maureen Bert really like you? I frowned. Who is Oscar Evan? A cocky male voice replied. Of course. She secretly looked at me several times in class and even brought me water. Just too pretentious. When I hit a home run, I'll show you a video. That waist, those legs, don't even mention it. I sneered, just as I was about to pull back the curtain. Outside, a commotion broke out. Terrified screams mingled with the sounds of punches and the sickening crunch of bones. Right, Lily, stop hitting, calm down. He's just talking nonsense. Right, Lily, let go, he's going to die. Right, Lily's voice carried a ferocity I had never heard before. Do you want to die? I yanked the curtain open, and everyone froze. Oscar Evan was curled up on the floor, clutching his head, his face swollen like a pig's head. Right, Lily's hands were stained with blood. Looking a bit bewildered, he slowly stood up, wanting to say something, but another wave of spasms hit my stomach. I felt nauseous. I held it together and walked past him coldly. Mind your own business. I didn't look at Right Lily's expression. Let it rot. After all, I always mess things up. When I got home, my mom was arguing with Maria Bert. The sound of a vase shattering pierced my eardrums. Maria Bert's voice was filled with pain and helplessness. Mom, how can I choose who to be born to? I've been trying so hard to get close to you since I was 2 years old. Is my only purpose in your life to be a marriage pawn? But you chose me back then. My mom's voice was so calm that it didn't stir a ripple. I told you, you're not allowed to call me Mom. Maria Bert, with red, swollen eyes, slammed the door and left without looking at me. Mom silently watched from upstairs. A surge of anger rose in my chest, and I rushed up to confront her. Will you die if you don't arrange a marriage? Why do you always force my sister like this? Do you only feel satisfied when everyone is broken? She ignored me and turned around to answer a phone call. After finishing her instructions, she glanced at me. Fine, since you're so capable, why don't you marry into the Lily family for her? Maureen Bert, no one's going to let you benefit while acting all virtuous. Mom walked away. The house felt empty. I felt dizzy and squatted on the ground, gasping for air. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Right Lily. Maureen Bert, what are you doing? I clutched my phone. The tip of my nose tinged with acidity. I want to see you. I set the meeting place at a bar. The lights were dim, and the booming music nearly deafened me. Right Lily was tall. I spotted him almost immediately. His skin was a healthy wheat color, with his sleeves casually rolled up, revealing a strong and smooth arm. The bar's blue-green lights highlighted his stern features, adding a wild allure. He sat obediently in a corner, his back to me, recalling the events of the day. I pressed my lips together. I had no idea how to be honest with him. I fiddled with the ribbon in my hand, approached him, and gently covered his eyes. Right Lily seemed to freeze for a moment. I took his hand and lightly scratched his palm. Come with me. Right Lily thought he should refuse. When he entered the bar, that spoiled brat from the Grace family had intercepted him, trying to get close. That guy was surrounded by women and wanted to push one onto him. Aren't you the prince who's so pure? You come here to play too. He instinctively frowned. The Grace kid's expression darkened for a moment, but quickly turned into a grin. His words dripped with vulgar teasing. Right Lily probably doesn't know. Hey, the old man intends to arrange a marriage with the Bert family, so enjoy your carefree days while you can. This brother has plenty of tricks up his sleeve to make sure you're satisfied. The Bert family. That surname isn't common. Something flashed in Right Lily's mind, and he subconsciously asked, what's the name of the girl from the Bert family? The guy raised an eyebrow. The older one is Maria Burt, and the younger one is Maureen Burt. Maureen Burt, it really is her. The intentional closeness these days. The act of enticing him while pretending to be aloof. She's playing him. Right, Lily was never one to have a good temper. On the contrary, having been personally taught by the old man, his methods were always brutal. It was just that few people could touch his bottom line, which is why he appeared gentle. Since middle school, he's never lacked love letters, admiration, shy glances, or bold confessions. All he needed to do was coldly refuse. Harassment messages were merely the lowest form of tactics. It's just that he didn't see the ulterior motives behind those infatuated messages from girls. Out of upbringing, he chose to ignore them. When did it change? She cried and sent him messages. His first moment of softness. Then came her aggrieved and stubborn words. Mind your own business. The sight of her nearly brought him to his knees, aching in his heart. So he rushed to ask, and that led to the present. She beckoned, and he followed. Right, Lily didn't like being led around like this. I pulled him into a room and guided him to the sofa. Right, Lily was unusually sullen. I curled up next to him, wrapping my arms around his neck. Why aren't you talking? Are you unhappy? Right, Lily swallowed hard, his voice slightly hoarse. Maureen Burt, I want to see if I can hold your waist. I blushed, my face burning. How could someone actually care about that flirtatious remark? I bit my lip, lifted the hem of my clothes with one hand, and hooked his fingertips with the other. When his hand landed on my waist, I bit my lip and flinched. Right, Lily's hands were really big. His fingers were long and strong, with prominent veins on the back of his hand. His nails were trimmed short. He was tracing the indentation of my waist. Right, Lily's breath became unsteady as he lowered his head. The room was dim, but not entirely dark. Through the gap in the ribbon, he clearly spotted the little red mole. The girl, sounding like a cat, playfully chastised him. Focus, it tickles. Her voice, falling in my ear, was even more impactful than the one from the headphones. Boom. Right, Lily had only one thought left in his mind. Thank goodness the lights are dim. After he finished touching my waist, he tried to pull away from me. Don't hug my neck. Don't hold my hand. And don't even touch my thigh. I felt a bit at a loss, and could only soften my voice to call him. Right, Lily. Right, Lily clenched his jaw. His lower jaw taut. His throat bobbed, and his voice carried a hint of intensity. Don't call me that. I was taken aback. A wave of grievance washing over me. Why was he being so fierce? It was so annoying. I sniffed softly, silently picking up my things. But Right, Lily precisely grasped my wrist. Where are you going? I jumped in surprise and cautiously waved my other hand in front of his eyes. No reaction. So I felt reassured and tried to pry his fingers off. I don't want you anymore. You must hate me. You clearly can't stand me. Yet you still come to see me. That's so considerate of you. I won't come again. When I tried to pull away, Right, Lily panicked instantly. What was the big deal for a grown man to be played with? She was obedient and sweet. She definitely wasn't doing it on purpose. Right, Lily wrapped his arm around my waist, and pressed me tightly against him. Every hair on my body stood on end. He. I covered my face, too afraid to move. After a long while, Right, Lily nestled his head into my neck. His voice was muffled, and his hair tickled me. Maureen Burt, you can't frame me. I nodded in a fluster. His arms were crossed over my chest, holding me tightly. Then you need to make it up to me. This was simple. I took his hand and placed it on my thigh. Right, Lily nearly jumped as if shocked. His voice trembled. Maureen Burt, you. His face was flushed, and beads of sweat dotted his nose. The veins on his forehead stood out. It must have been tough to hold back. I blinked. Don't you want to touch? I gently scratched his chin, deliberately blowing air into his ear. You can kiss too. Don't you want to kiss me? Before I could finish, Right, Lily kissed me fiercely. His hand slid down to the side of my thigh, and kneaded it roughly. The calluses on Right, Lily's fingertips made my tailbone tingle. His breath enveloped me completely. He held my waist, and the warm air he exhaled tickled my neck. Should we keep going? I felt as if I'd been scalded, and snapped back to reality. I clung to his shoulder, looking pitiful. No. I don't want to anymore. The temperature in the air was rising inch by inch as we stumbled through our kisses. I was dizzy from the kisses, nearly gasping for air. Right Lily took off his scarf and offered me a breath. His eyes were bright, reflecting only me. Maureen Burt, you have to take responsibility for me. I was so exposed. I pushed him away and ran. My heart was pounding. I felt like my soul was leaving my body. Right Lily's messages came in one after another. Maureen Burt's waist is pretty too. So soft. I really like it. I usually don't do bad things, but now that I have Maureen Burt, I might think about it. Want to try? Maureen Burt, be a little reserved. Why aren't you happy? I like the mint candy from Maureen Burt. Can you just bring the water directly to me tomorrow? I spent an entire month replying seriously to flirty messages. My mind went blank for a long time. I wished I were dead. I skipped class for a whole day. At home, I grew mushrooms. Tracy Handsome messaged me, still burning. Not burning anymore. I'm being good. I sent her a picture of my bruised knee. Please help me ask for leave. Mua. Tracy Handsome replied with an, okay. Right Lily would occasionally send me GIFs of him swallowing and flexing his abs to tease me. I was almost unable to resist. Maria Burt opened the door and sat across from me. There was a hint of gloom between her brows, and she had lost some weight. She took my hand, hesitated to speak several times, but finally gritted her teeth. Maureen Burt, can you help me with an arranged marriage? I was stunned. Maria Burt looked anxious, almost pleading, squeezing my hand tighter. Maureen Burt, I've always let you have your way since we were kids. I never dared to stand out in my studies, rarely attended parties. When you were bullied, I was the one who helped you apply medicine. Maureen Burt, you can't inherit the company. You're not smart enough. You won't do well. I heard that the young master from the Lily family is about the same age as you. After marriage, you can do your own thing, not disturb each other. But once I leave the company, I won't have any more opportunities. I'm begging you, please help me. All right. Maria Burt's lips moved, and it took me a long time to understand her meaning. I stammered for a long time, not knowing what to say. Maria Burt shook my shoulders, cupping my face. Don't you want to get back at Mom? You're also angry with her. Otherwise, you wouldn't send those messages to the boys. You know that after being exposed, you'll carry a stain for life. Mom will definitely be angry. I stared at her in shock. She actually knew that I had secretly done such a stupid thing. Maria Burt avoided my gaze. We stood there in a stalemate. After a long time, I finally managed to speak. Let me think about it. My mind was in chaos. I wanted to avoid Right Lily, but he always caught me. It felt like he had a locator on me. I was dragged to watch him play basketball. Right Lily had strong control over the game. His playing style was precise and aggressive. During halftime, he looked at me while lifting his shirt to cool off. His abs were taut, a little pink. My face heated up. After the game, he handed me a towel. Then he obediently bent down toward me. The basketball players gathered around and called me sister-in-law. Once again, that clumsy player winked at me. Sister-in-law, what do you like about our Right Lily? Right Lily looked up, staring at me. I felt a bit shy and scratched my face. Right Lily, he's very gentle. I was lost in my own world, completely unaware that everyone was looking at me, as if they had seen a ghost. It was hot outside, and Right Lily walked me back to my dorm. He insisted on kissing me for a long time before letting go. When I opened the door, Tracy Handsome was busy, sketching an evening gown. I leaned in to take a look. It's beautiful. The blue really suits you. Tracy Handsome seemed disinterested. What a ridiculous banquet. It's wasting time for experiments. Is the young master from the Lily family really that desirable? Isn't it just a beauty pageant? Ridiculous. I cautiously asked. Do you know what he looks like? Tracy Handsome casually tossed the gown onto a chair and opened her laptop. 2 eyes and a mouth. I can't even finish my thesis. Who cares what the guy looks like? I leaned in and hugged her neck. Then I'll go for you. She turned to look at me, puzzled. Auntie never lets you attend such high-class matchmaking events, right? Are you trying to get yourself killed? I bit my lip, unsure how to respond. Tracy Handsome patted my hand. Then I'll go with you, to give you cover. I nodded like a chick pecking at rice, tears welling up. What? Tracy Handsome, I'll love you for a lifetime. Recently, Right Lily seemed very busy. But he still kept messaging me, and I replied less and less. After another argument between Maria, Bert, and Mom, I finally agreed to her request to attend the engagement banquet and stand on the bride's side, confirming the arrangement with the Lily family in front of everyone. I often stared at Lily's photos, feeling a bitter ache in my heart. I typed out breakup messages only to delete them again and again. I couldn't let go. But Maria Bert was my sister, my companion since childhood. In so many long, dark nights, we had huddled close together. I finally made up my mind, putting away my phone. Tracy Handsome pulled me into the banquet. We found a secluded corner. After waiting for a long time, I propped my chin in my hand. Why hasn't he come yet? Tracy Handsome was engrossed in analyzing data, not even looking up. Men are always pretending. Before the main character appeared, I ran into Oscar Evan. The swelling on his face hadn't gone down yet, looking somewhat ridiculous. I didn't have the mood to deal with him. Good dogs don't block the way. Oscar Evan was furious. Do you think I like you? That's laughable. Don't think that since you're with Lily, everything will be fine. You don't know, do you? He went to a bar with a girl yesterday, and spent a long time alone with her. What do you count as? Once you marry into the Lily family, you'll regret it. I genuinely didn't know that. Tracy Handsome closed her phone, and looked at him leisurely. Men with sexual dysfunction are like this. They can't control their emotions, lack self-awareness, and live forever in a delusional world. Many men develop this problem after 25. Don't rule out the possibility of an early onset. You should see a urologist soon. Oscar Evan was so furious he looked like a boiling kettle, almost ready to scream. I suddenly realized the logical flaw in his words. What does me being with Lily have to do with marrying into the Lily family? After I asked, I was stunned myself. Could it be? Oscar Evan confirmed my suspicion. Pretend all you want. Lily is the young master of the Lily family. His expression was dark as he threw in a parting threat before leaving. Just you wait. This matter won't end so easily. Tracy Handsome raised an eyebrow. Whoa. Amazing. I trembled as I looked at my phone, my vision going dark. I stared at the message I sent to Lily. Lily, I can't be with you anymore. I don't like you. I'm going to marry someone else. Lily replied with just one message. Where are you? Very calm, but I inexplicably felt he was angry. I started babbling. Sleeping in the dorm. His voice call came in immediately. I was so startled that my mind went blank, instinctively blocking and deleting him. By the time I came to my senses, I realized it was over. The sky had fallen. I lifted my skirt and succinctly said, I'm running away. Tracy Handsome was watching Oscar Evan's retreating figure, lost in thought, and she nodded at me. I lowered my head and descended the spiral staircase, my mind in disarray. I stumbled slightly and bumped into a warm chest behind me. A familiar low voice came from my ear. Sleeping in the dorm. Are you playing with me? Lily was furious. He bit my ear as a punishment, and then pressed me heavily against him. People around us were starting to look. My scalp tingled, but I didn't dare to resist. I had no choice but to grip his shirt and lower my head. Don't say that here. Lily snorted, then picked me up in a princess carry. He casually kicked open a lounge. Once seated, he opened his phone and read my messages word by word. Then he questioned me. What does this mean? After being with you for so long, I don't even deserve to know why we're breaking up. Maureen Bert, can't we talk things through? Do you have to sentence me to death right away? You really know how to demean people. I felt like I had never seen this side of Lily before. Cold, hard, his light-colored eyes filled with dark clouds. The suffocating pressure made me uncomfortable. My hands were still gripping his neck as I softly asked, So are you still marrying me? Lily scoffed. Why would I marry you? You don't even like me. The atmosphere froze instantly. I lowered my eyes and slowly withdrew my arms. Oh, am I not sad? Am I not wronged? What's the point of holding on? I don't want to see you again in this lifetime. As soon as I moved, Lily immediately pulled me back. He chuckled, raising my chin with one hand. Maureen Bert, I've found out you really have a knack for this. You cry every time, always shedding tears. Is this your secret weapon to control me? I was a bit angry too. Nothing is acceptable. So what do you want? Go marry someone else. I won't stop you. He stayed silent for a long time. Right Lily was like a large, wilted dog, burying his head against me, his voice muffled. Can't you just comfort me? Why do you have to be so fierce? Just a kiss and everything would be fine. While I was touching up my makeup, Right Lily squatted down to adjust my skirt. I've already talked to my mom. Unless you marry me, I don't want anyone else. Suddenly, I remembered a critical question. When did you find out about me? Right Lily smiled proudly. The first time I saw you, Maureen Burt. You were so obvious with your little smirk. I thought for a moment and kicked him with the tip of my shoe. So why did you threaten to call the police? Right Lily touched his nose. If I had known you were my wife back then, I definitely wouldn't have said that. HMPH. My phone vibrated, and I opened it. It was a message from Tracy Handsome. Oscar Evans somehow got his hands on screenshots of your chat with Right Lily, and is planning to send them out. I've taken care of him. Be careful. Information. Exposure. Maria Burt. I unconsciously tightened my grip on my phone. Right Lily wrapped his arms around my waist. What's wrong? I instinctively replied. Nothing. Right Lily's face was still smeared with lipstick marks, making me feel a bit shy. You have something on your face. Let me clean it. Right Lily dodged. Don't wipe it off. I like it. Heh. Okay. Just as Right Lily and I stepped out of the lounge, we heard a strange noise coming from the empty hallway. It sounded like someone was being muffled, making sounds. We exchanged glances and quietly moved toward the source of the sound. The door was ajar. I peered inside. Oscar Evan, dressed in a suit, was kneeling on the floor, tightly bound with ropes. His mouth was taped shut, and tears were streaming from the corners of his eyes. Tracy Handsome was looking through his phone, her foot resting on his thigh. My pupils trembled. Tracy Handsome looked over at me, winked, and put her finger to her lips. Oscar Evan looked over, seeking help, making muffled, sounds. I gave an okay sign. Carefully, I closed the door. Right Lily was silent for a long time, seemingly deep in thought. After we had walked quite a distance, he quietly asked me, Maureen Burt, can I step on you too? I shot him a fierce glare. I thought everything would end up as we wanted, regardless of the process. But when we returned home, the place was a mess. Mom was sitting on the floor, empty bottles scattered everywhere. She looked at me, her eyes red. Maureen Burt, am I really that incompetent? I clearly want to be good to you, but I still mess things up. But Mom has always worked hard for this family. You can understand me, right? She looked at me with a hint of pleading, but I took a step back. But Mom, I don't want to be the emotional product of your failed marriage anymore. In your eyes, I'm always terrible, weak and useless, stupid and foolish, unworthy of being your child, always disappointing you again and again. But I get sad too. You never care about how hard I study, whether I'm tired, never care if I have enough to eat, or if I sleep well at night. You don't know how confused and scared I felt when you beat me black and blue, or how desperate and powerless I was when you tore up my drawings. Something that you casually say and do takes me many days and nights to digest. I understand you. You have it tough, and I don't blame you. But I can't provide emotional support after going through more than 20 terrible years. You hate me, right? I'm not interested in the family business. I want to go paint. Maria Burt stood on the stairs, wanting to say something but hesitating. I didn't want to ask her anything. I didn't want to say anything to her anymore. Let it be. Right Lily was waiting for me at the door. I rushed into his arms. The feeling of being completely enveloped gave me comfort. Right Lily patted my head, somewhat helpless. Why are you crying again? Seriously, are you made of water? Right Lily began to handle me with caution, as if I were made of crystal. It's really not that serious. I felt much better after getting out of the oppressive environment, but he was starting to stutter when he spoke. I couldn't take it anymore. On a weekend, I dragged him onto the bed to give him a little lesson. When Right Lily woke up, he was covering his chest with the blanket, looking at me resentfully. He had a perfect bite mark on his shoulder, and there were several scratches on his back. I touched my nose. I heard that getting married in college can earn you credits. We should. Right Lily immediately rolled off the bed, rummaging through his backpack for a box. He knelt down on one knee, looking at me with deep affection. Maureen Burt, will you marry me? I nodded in a panic, hurriedly covering my eyes. Put your pants on first. The end of the main text. Extra 1, just a couple's game, write Lily's perspective. 5 or 6 years after marriage. We were in a Cold War. Wright Lily was watching financial news during the day, and came home at night giving Maureen Burt the cold shoulder while washing his underwear. She acted up during her period. Once she discovered that crying could really manipulate him, it was like discovering a new continent. She began to whimper at everything she did, fake crying, with no real emotion behind it. If she was unhappy, she would sulk. She would sleep curled up on him. Wright Lily had tossed and turned for several nights. The pressure during the day was terrifying. When he learned that a subordinate was slacking off and chatting, he asked if Wright Lily also had a big aunt. Wright Lily almost laughed in anger. Finally, after a week of this, Maureen Burt started to eat cold, icy meals. Yet, she cluelessly sat on his lap and kissed him. Wright Lily slowly broke into a smile. Maureen Burt suddenly realized something was off, but by the time she tried to run, it was too late. Wright Lily wrapped her wrists with his tie, his voice deep and husky. Let me see how many tears that little face of yours can shed. Extra, Maureen Burt, Maria Burt, main perspective, During the new year, we still gathered together for the New Year's Eve dinner. Wright Lily was making dumplings in the living room while Maria Burt and I were in the kitchen snacking on fruit. Maria Burt worked hard and was quite talented. She was decisive in her actions and cut off all emotions. The company's performance had quadrupled under her leadership. Meanwhile, my paintings were sold overseas, achieving satisfactory results. We both had our own futures that we loved and fought for. Who would have thought that 9 years ago, we were miserably hugging each other while munching on cucumbers? And now at 20, I was red-eyed receiving a bowl of porridge from my sister. Maria Burt broke the somewhat dry silence. Are you trying to conceive? I nodded, embarrassed, and smiled. I want to try the feeling of loving someone wholeheartedly. I also hope she can grow up surrounded by love from everyone. Maria Burt smiled back. Then I'll prepare 5% of the company's shares for her. All she needs in this life is to be happy. Mom called out to me from outside. Maureen Burt, are you done chatting? The dumplings are cooked. They'll get mushy if we wait too long. Maria Burt and I headed to the living room. Suddenly, she said softly from behind, I'm sorry. Actually, sister, I've never blamed you. I just don't know how to face you. At the dinner table, I poked a dumpling filled with coins and handed it to her. Happy New Year, sister. Extra 3, Tracy Handsome. Oscar Evan's perspective. Oscar Evan is the illegitimate son of the Evan family, who scavenged until he was 10, before suddenly being adopted. In the Evan family, no one respected him, and no one truly taught him anything. He grew up like a wild dog. He didn't know why he was adopted, but at least Evan's family didn't mind his money. They just had one strange requirement: maintain a regular schedule, eat healthily, and no need to drink excessively. With nothing to do, he learned to be sharp-tongued. The first time he spoke out against Maureen Burt, he got hit. The second time he provoked her, he ended up choking. The third time he sought revenge on Maureen Burt, he was pinned down. He surrendered and started avoiding the woman. But that woman, who drained him completely, wouldn't let him go. She kept him caged like a dog, unleashing her frustration on him whenever the experiments didn't yield results. He was too scared to voice his anger, until one day, he successfully snuck out. Hey, who could keep him locked up? Just when he was feeling proud, he got kidnapped. It turned out Evan's family was looking for him, but only to replace their precious youngest son's kidney. They gave him a shot of anesthesia. As he drifted off, he wondered, why such a big fuss, when he wouldn't die anyway? If he did die, it wouldn't matter. His life was so cheap, no one would care. He inappropriately thought of that woman. Would she care? Never mind. He was just a free supply for women. He was pushed into the operating room. A sharp scalpel was pointed at him. Suddenly, the door was kicked open. A bodyguard in full black gear burst in, wielding a stun baton. The surrounding people were quickly subdued. The woman slowly walked toward him, from the center of the crowd. She wore a lab coat, and the chief surgeon's ID badge was clipped to her chest. With her icy fingers, she tapped his forehead. Puppy, you're so pitiful. The end.